it's increasingly looking like a golden cross in the FTSE index that appeared to be failing might be back on after all. What is a golden cross? A golden cross is a crossing of the 50-day moving average from below the 200-day above the 200-day. And that's significant. It's a confirmation of a trend change, that you see a trend change in the price, and then this comes along later to confirm this. The opposite of a golden cross is what's called a death cross, where the 50-day crosses below the 200-day. This is confirmation that an uptrend has ended and a downtrend has started. Before I show the FTSE, I'm going to show golden crosses in some other indices to show when they work and when they don't. Here's an example of WTI crude for the last couple of years. In the latter summer of 2014, we had a death cross here, the 50-day cross below the 200, and was followed by a major sell-off. We had a rebound, and we had an attempt at a golden cross in the summer of 2015, and as we can see here, it got very, very close but failed. And that failure then said that this rebound here was not for real. This rebound, the crude oil was not ready for prime time, and then when did we see further declines? This spring, however, we saw back in a few weeks ago, in early May, a golden cross here, where we've had the 200-day leveling off, the 50-day accelerating, and the price accelerating. And this time it's been confirmed, and it's confirming the start of a new uptrend that started with this double bottom and little hammer candle back in here. In the short term, crude oil appears to be leveling off while it works off an overbought RSI, but so far this golden cross here, it does indicate that we do see a significant uptrend underway in crude oil. One thing you do run into, though, with crossings of the moving average is that you need to have a trend. If the trend is sideways, they don't work very well, and I'll show the S&P 500 here as an example. This is a pretty established sideways trend for over a year in the index, and in fact here we can see it in 2 years. Now watch this. We had this long time 50-day moving average tracking above the 200-day, strong uptrend here, and then look, we did get our death cross back in the last summer, in the summer of 2015, but in this particular case, although it did coincide with a big short-term plunge, it didn't signal the start of a major new downtrend. In this case, the trend change signaled was of a sideways trend, and we can see that for the better part of 9 months now, the S&P's been trending sideways, and we've gone death cross, golden cross, death cross, golden cross, and so on. And what are we seeing? That the moving average is basically in a sideways trend, swing up and down around each other, so they don't mean as much. Moving on now to the FTSE index, however, is a bit of a different story here, and this one is quite intriguing in terms of the moving average crosses. So we're in a sideways trend through the later part of 2014 and the first part of 2015, and again, what did we see? We had these moving averages kind of crossing above and below each other every few months. Now, we had seen since July of last year, however, we saw it definitely go into a downtrend. This death cross here ended up signaling a sizable downtrend that we saw. Now we've seen here since about February, when which seems to be the point of maximum bearishness, we've actually had the index starting to recover, and things were looking pretty good for a while. We had a great run up in April, broke through the averages, but then we had a setback in early May. What was intriguing and confusing at the same time about this, though, is that we got our golden cross. We had the 50-day cross back above the 200-day, but at the time the price was below the moving averages, and that suggested that, well, this will probably fail, and you'd probably see the 50 roll back under the 200 again into a sideways or a downtrend. But instead, what we've had in the last week now is we've had a pop in the index here, back up above 6,200 onto about 6,270. Next resistance near about 6,300, about 6,350, and then about 6,450. But look, as long as this holds above the moving averages, we could this golden cross here that nobody really noticed or believed could end up being for real after all. And as we move towards the Brexit referendum, just under a month out now, we are seeing the fears that the Brexit vote could cause some sort of economic turmoil appears to be fading. The FTSE's been getting more support. As we can see, this big channel here has been broken, and now it's starting to work its way to the upside. So we'll be continuing to monitor this. The trend currently is sideways, but at this point it seems to be more of a pause within an emerging uptrend.